Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Impression Sports Talk here on Sports Fluid Media. I'm Jasmine Pollock, and today it's going to be like a not a long show. I'm not going to get into all the games. I want to talk about both games that happened yesterday in the NBA playoffs. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is First Impression Sports Talk. That airs every week. I'm going to be talking all things sports, whether it's hockey playoffs, because I know that's been crazy. NFL is going to be around the corner very soon. Previews of college football games, and much, much more. So let's get into the first game I want to talk about, the latest one, which is the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, the last time we talked, the Timberwolves were up 2-0 or 1-0, of those two. And there's been a lot of, conversation of, will we get a sweep? Is the Minnesota Timberwolves that scary team coming out of both sides of the playoffs to potentially get to the NBA Finals and win a championship? Well, right now, the series is now tied. So both teams are able to go on the road and win two in the opponent's building. So let's get into the last night's game. So we'll start with the Nuggets. So the biggest thing to me was Aaron Gordon having 27 points. He couldn't miss. I believe he was 10 for 10. That is absurd. For what he was able to do, because he was the X factor in this game. You get that third option. Jokic and Jamal Murray, they're going to get their points, but you get that third options. Aaron Gordon getting 27 points is just amazing. So that was good. Then Michael Porter Jr., he didn't really have a big game. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 points. You didn't get a lot out of him yesterday. But Jokic, 35 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. And then Jamal Murray, he had a good 19 points as well. So when you have your 2-star guys, Jamal Murray and Jokic, get those points and do what they needed to do, and then you get Aaron Gordon to give you 27 and not miss from the field, that's how you win games on the road. And let's look at the Timberwolves. So Jaden McDaniels, he had 11. Carlton Downs had 13. Rudy Gobert had 11. Anthony Edwards had 44. Mike Conley had 15. So when you look at that, it was pretty evenly matched. But then you have Ant-Man scoring 44. He was already on pace. And in the third quarter, he was already at 37. So, he was already on pace to get 44 points. But for the Timberwolves, they need to get back to what they did in game 2. The defense they played in game 2. And I know Gobert, he turned the ball over in very critical possessions that they needed, in order to, potentially, probably get this game closer or win it. So they did lose 107 to 115. So this game is headed back to Denver tomorrow, and we're definitely going to see. Now, I feel like, based off of Ant-Man, off of his press conference and him chirping with Jamal Murray, I do think they're going to be ready, and I do think they're going to potentially win game 5 tomorrow. I do have them winning game 5 tomorrow, because I think I like Ant-Man saying what he said, and him having that, accountability. Even in game 3, he had that accountability, and he came out 44 points. But I think the team as a whole will definitely be ready to play Denver tomorrow in Denver. So for the Minnesota Timberwolves, though, you need more out of Jaden Daniels. Or not Jaden Daniels. You need more out of McDaniels. You need more out of Gobert. He's a 3-time defensive player of the year. He won it again this year. You would expect more. You're not saying he's playing bad, but you expect more from him, and a lot more as a defensive player, taking on Gordon and making sure, like, okay, we'll let Jokic get his points, but you're not doing that. What the Timberwolves have to get back to doing is make Jokic uncomfortable. Put him at the top of the key. Make him uncomfortable, but no one else is getting their points. No one else. We're going to lock everyone else up, and we're going to make Jokic, have to fight tooth and nail on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball for them to, potentially win this game. But I do have the Timberwolves bouncing back tomorrow in Denver, and I do have them winning in 6. I just think Ant-Man, the way he's taking accountability and the way I feel like he is so amped up for this moment, and he's ready for this moment because this is what the series is. This is what makes stars. You're going up against the defending champs. It's tied 2-2. It's time to show people that, look, we're going to win this series and we're going to win it in our building. So I think that they have a chance. But Denver, they're getting on a roll. Jamal Murray is getting his points. Not as much as we're used to seeing Jamal getting, but having Aaron Gordon getting 27 points and being 10 for 10 on the field or on the court is a very vital thing because, you have that viable third option that can do that. And then Porter can also do that in one game as well. So that was a big deal for them winning. So let's read some of the comments. All right. T-Wolves looking like the Suns in 2021. Floundering. Yep, they are. But I just think they have to get back to what they were doing in game 1 and game 2, especially game 2, how they played lockdown defense the way they did. They have to get back to that. And Ant-Man is going to continue to do what he does, but I want someone else to go get you 20 plus. Of course, Jokic and Ant-Man are going to cancel each other out because they're both both of them are the top guys on their team. They're both the faces of the team. So them two, we already know they're going to do what they're going to do, but who else? Jokic has a lot more help. You have Aaron Gordon, who did what he did. You have Jamal Murray, who's, proven. You have Michael Porter Jr. You have guys that can go get points. Whereas, not saying Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns and Conley can't do that, but you got to get more out of them. Another person has to get 20 plus points if Ant-Man is getting you 44. Somebody has to do that. Someone has to do that. You have to, either that's Karl Anthony Towns, Michael Conley Jr., somebody like that can get you 50, not 50 points, get you over 20 points in order to even it out and compete. Let's see. Ants just blah. Haven't won anything yet. Denver proving they can win the series. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, right now, they don't have an answer for Ant-Man. Denver has not had an answer for him. I know game 3, he had a letdown game, but he took accountability for that. I'm not saying Denver is the defending champs for a reason, but they still don't have answers for Ant-Man. You don't have answers for him. I mean, so when we look at that, I think Ant-Man, he needs somebody around him to okay, I'm going to go get my 44 points. I'm going to do what I need to do and put you on my back, but I need someone else to give me that 20 plus to make the game close and make those shots that if all the attention is going to be on Ant-Man. That obviously we know that, but they couldn't stop him yesterday. They couldn't do anything with him yesterday. T-Wolves need more out of their defense. Absolutely. What happened to the top rating during the regular season? Yeah. Game 3, they showed us what that defense looked like in game 3. Not game 3, I mean game 2. So when we look at that, you held Denver to 80 points. Get back to doing that. Why are we changing of the guard? And this is what we're talking about. And to comment on this comment here, exactly. When we talk about that, Denver as a team is more battle tested. They have a coach that's more battle tested and different things like that. So they know certain things where this is a young Timberwolves team that's still trying to figure things out. But this is where, as a coach, you make adjustments. What did we do successfully? The last couple of the first 2 games in their building, and we need to get back to that. There's no way they should have lost in their home building. But it's Denver. This series is going to be competitive. It's just can someone else for the Timberwolves give them that spark, 20 plus, 25 plus, things like that besides Ant-Man, and then can they get back to that stellar defense that they had before? So we need that for them. Wolves got no answers for Gordon. No, not at all. But will Gordon have 10-10 next game? Will he continuously do that? No, those types of players, they fluctuate at times. So that's why I'm saying that you might get Gordon doing this yesterday. Then you might have Porter Jr. doing that tomorrow. So that's what I'm saying. The 2 consistent players of the Denver Nuggets is Jamal Murray and Jokic. They both of them. But when you get Aaron Gordon doing that wills your team. That's like, oh, we got Aaron's doing his thing today for sure. Then tomorrow it could be Porter or somebody on the bench. But what I'm saying is the Timberwolves have to get back to their defensive side of the ball. They have to. Don't let Jokic get 30 plus and then Aaron Gordon have 27. Then Jamal, you can't have that happen. You can't have that happen. Go back to their defense that you played in the first two games. Stop changing of the guard and doing all these different things. And I'm gonna call out Gobert. Gobert is a 3-time defensive player of the year. He won it this year. You cannot let you're playing. If I'm Gobert, you are not letting Gordon do that. If you're the so-called three-time defending defensive champion, you can't let that happen. Not in your building. No, you can't let that happen. You hang your hat on defense. We talk about that with Gobert a lot of times. That is your assignment. Guard him. What are we doing? And I know you can't stop when a guy is hot, but make it tough for him. I mean, 10 for 10 is crazy and 27 points. I mean, he was all over the place, but we'll see what's going to happen. My concern is with the Timberwolves is, can you withstand the onslaught? Can you withstand the maturity? Can you withstand the experience of the Denver Nuggets? That's yet to be seen. Not saying they can't. Not saying they can't at all, because I've seen when you have guys like Anthony Edwards, you can will a team. You can very much so will a team to that. He has that leadership standpoint of him. It's just they need to get back to basics and get back to what they are known for and what they were doing, and not letting Denver do what they did. And on top of that, they're allowing Denver in both these two games, in Minnesota, they've allowed Denver to get off on these big leads early in the game. You can't let that happen. You have to punch them in the mouth, especially at home. When you go into the building tomorrow, you have to punch them in the mouth. So we're definitely going to see what's going to happen in this series. But the next game we're going to talk about, before we switch gears, I saw another comment. Let me see. Minnesota disrespecting A. Gordon, leaving him open on a perimeter. Got to play him straight up and recover back to Joker. Exactly. That's why I feel like Gobert needs to come in. Aaron Gordon is not a scrub, not at all. I'm not saying he's a scrub, but you can't allow a guy like that to go 10 for 10, 27 points, and then Jokic is getting 30 plus. Yeah, you can't have that. And if I'm Minnesota, if you see that happening, okay, well, if we can't stop him, somebody else on the offense side of the ball for Minnesota, well, we got to cancel Gordon now. We got to get somebody who's going to score 20 plus points, 25 points as well, while Anthony Edwards is getting 44. That's how you cancel that out. But we're definitely going to see. But the next game we're going to talk about is the other tied series, which is the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. Man, I know Knicks fans are like scratching their head right now, because when you look at the Knicks, right, Jalen Brunson is a dog. He is that leader that they have had for the past 2 years. But for me, the Knicks are missing something. They're missing something. It's not Jalen Brunson. It's not like they have bad players. They're missing something. I don't know if it's a veteran presence or another person that can consistently. I don't know what it is, but they're missing something. And the past couple of years, they've been a good team. They made it to the playoffs, but it's something that they're missing. And the Indiana Pacers are exploiting that. The back-to-back games they've had have not been pretty for the Knicks. And what's scary to me for the Knicks is even the games you won, you know what I'm saying? Even in the 2 games you won at home, they were nail-biting games. And then you go home to you go to the Pacers, and those games aren't close. So it's showing me the Knicks are outmatched. I mean, outside of Jalen Brunson, let's really look at it. Brunson, and even in the game they just lost, Brunson had 18. It was a blowout. It was 121-89. It was a blowout. It wasn't even close the whole game. So Brunson had 18. McBride had 16, and Alec Burks had 20. Then when you're looking at the Pacers, you have Pascal Siakam, and I think one of the most underrated teams in the playoffs right now is the Indiana Pacers, because you do have that veteran presence in Pascal Siakam, who has won a championship in Toronto, who's been in many battles in the playoffs. he brings that veteran presence to a very young um um Pacers team. Even though the Pacers team have been around, but they are a young team, they're starting to get their bearings now. So you have Pascal Siakam with 14, you have Turner with 13, Halliburton had 20, and TJ McConnell had 15. Then you have Isaiah Jackson with 10, and then you have Obi Toppin, he had 14. So you had an pretty even scoring situation for the Pacers, which is good. That gives you, if you see everyone's even out and then you're stopping the other team as well, and you're playing solid defense on them. And the Knicks, like I said, they're missing something. Probably a veteran presence to me. I know a lot of people have been saying that, even Knicks fans that I've been seeing on the internet, they've been saying that it's a veteran presence, that they're needing someone that alleviates Jalen Brunson, because honestly, we're not in the same era anymore, I feel, where you can just carry a team or just carry or will a team. There has to be that second person. You look at Denver, we just talked about Denver. You have Jokic and Murray. Both guys can go get you numbers, but then you have some other guys in the back end that could have one of those sparks, like and Aaron Gordon did last night. Whereas when you look at the Knicks, is really Jalen Brunson. He's the one that you're seeing 40, and then it's everyone else. And that's what I'm concerned with for Minnesota. Is it just going to be Ant-Man scoring 30 plus every night, and then you got somebody like maybe 15, maybe 16, maybe 10? That's not going to work, and that's not going to win you a championship. You have to have that second guy that's like, okay, we got two people to worry about, two of them. And then when you look at Boston, you have Tatum, you have Jalen, you have two guys. If you look at all these teams, there's two guys that you can legitimately say there's two guys we can play that we can deal with. I consider Halliburton, and then you go get Pascal Siakam, two guys that can go get you buckets, and you have one guy who's won a championship before. So that's what we're looking at. But if I don't think the Knicks are winning this series. I don't think they have enough. I don't think Jalen Brunson's amazing, but I don't think they have enough to overcome the Pacers. And this would be huge for the Pacers, because they're just now getting back to winning form since Paul George, since that Pacers team a decade ago. So when we look at that, you have a veteran presence on the Pacers, which is a big deal, because it's all about veteran presence. It's all about somebody said, you know what it means to win a championship. You know what it feels like to go through these battles. And I think the Pacers have a real shot. I think they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't think the Knicks have enough. And I hate to say that, because I know the Knicks fans and the Knicks world, New York, has been waiting for this moment for the Knicks to just get back to that, just get a taste of that. Now, of course, making the playoffs is a big deal, and then getting to the second round, and you did what you did. But I think the Knicks have to get some veteran presence. They have to go get another star with Jalen Brunson. They have complementary guys that can go get you buckets. Go get someone else that can get you buckets outside of Jalen Brunson, that can go give you that you can have two guys that give you 30, two guys that give you 40, and then you have everyone else giving you 10 and 15. That's what you need. But right now, I do not think the Knicks have enough. Unfortunately, I just don't think. My New York Knicks are good. We got something for Indy in Game 5. Gonna be tough without OG, but Nova boys want the smoke. Yeah, and and that's what I'm saying. You're a Knicks fan and stuff like that. So I just feel like for the Knicks, y'all need to go get, like, if let's say something miraculous happens. Let's say they win the series. Okay, keep that ball rolling. But if let's say, I'm not saying, I don't know if they have enough with the Pacers. But if this is not saying they're a bad team, because they made it, they earned their spot to get here, and I do think they are a talented young team that's brewing. But I think the Knicks need to go get another person. There's reports of Paul George. I don't know if y'all want Paul George. If I'm a Knicks fan, I wouldn't want Paul George. I mean, I've seen him in action in the playoffs. It's not pretty. He's not someone that can go give you that consistency in the playoffs. I don't see that for them. There's a lot of star guys coming out. You never know. That I think that could be a big deal. I think the Knicks go get some veteran presence. I think they're going to be a dangerous team next year. The Knicks are going to be around. It's not saying that they're, oh, this is it. No, 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 no. They're going to be around. With Jalen Brunson still there, they're going to be around. They're going to attract people to come to New York for sure. KD will join the Knicks. Would Knicks fans want KD? What? KD is still Kevin Durant, but it's that leadership aspect, right? Kevin Durant was on 2 super teams. 2. Brooklyn, then now with the Suns. You were just in New York with Brooklyn where you had Kyrie and you had Harden. Now we know I have my opinions on Harden and I'll talk about that later, but Kyrie Irving is doing what he's doing in his series against OKC. You know, they're doing what they're doing. And when I look at Kevin Durant, it's the leadership aspect. Do you want that pressure? There's a certain pressure with playing for an organization like the Knicks. There's a certain pressure with that because it's a mecca. It's Madison Square Garden. You're playing in that moment. Can Kevin Durant withstand that post Golden State? He hasn't sustained it. He hasn't. So I don't know. So Knicks making the Eastern Conference side by a hook or by a crook. We're not giving up home court advantage. Don't. You know, I personally don't like the Pacers because I didn't like the Pacers when they were playing Miami Heat for so long. But my thing is, I don't know if it's tough to say the KD going to the Knicks. It's tough to say because I don't know if Kevin Durant has that in him to like, all right, it's me and Jalen. And a lot of people are going to look at Durant because he will be the bigger star of the two, obviously. He's the one that's won the championship. Yes, he's a veteran presence. Yes, 100%. I know they've needed a veteran presence. But post Golden State, Kevin Durant has not made it back. He hasn't proven to people that I didn't need Golden State. And you going to the Knicks, that's a tall task, man. So I don't know. Knicks culture not about star talent, it's about star work ethic. Exactly. Number 1 free agent Mikal Bridges. Yeah, Mikal Bridges. Like, I think that would be a good pickup for the Knicks. I just don't know if the pairing with KD would look okay for me. Because, not to go off on a spiel, but for me, Kevin Durant was my second favorite player, after LeBron, because we all know LeBron's my favorite player. When he went to Golden State, that really made me upset. That I was really upset. That night I got that alert on my phone. It was the free agency, and me and my dad was saying, man, we don't know we thought, well, what if he goes up there to Cleveland with LeBron, because LeBron was in Cleveland at the time, and boom, Golden State, 73-3 the previous year, even though they lost to Cavs in 2016. The following year, y'all call Kevin Durant. Oh, we need you here. That left a horrible taste in my mouth, and I've not been a fan of Kevin Durant ever since. Because things like that, that disappointed me 100%, because Kevin Durant was the guy that could go get a championship on his own. He could do that. He went, even though they lost to the Heat, he still went there. You had Russ, you had Harden. That's before Harden. We knew who Harden was, before Houston Harden. But Kevin Durant, he was very capable of going to go compete for that. But joining the team that just beat you, just laughed in your face, 3-1, and then during the time, you're still not loved the way, of course, they will love Curry. You're still not loved the way they will love Curry. And then after the fact, it's like, oh yeah, we're good. And then Curry wins a championship after that. It's just, it didn't go well for Kevin Durant and his legacy and his career. I'm not saying it's over, but you got a lot of young teams coming up. There's a lot of young guys making names for themselves. You look at Ant. Ant just kicked him out. I mean, we are looking at a shifting of the guard when it comes to and this is even for LeBron. There's a shifting of the guard. Steph Curry didn't make it. KD is out. LeBron is out. There's a lot of guys out. There's a lot of that that generation of guys that a lot of us grew up off of seeing, the new generation is coming. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's over for KD, but does he have a last hurrah to where I can go lead the Knicks to a championship? It's going to be tough because you had Devin Booker, you had Kyrie, you had Harden, you had guys throughout this time, and then Beal. You didn't make it happen. And I'm not saying it's all on him, but it's just a lot of things didn't go right post Golden State, and then Steph Curry won one after you left. So that, to me, that's a big deal. But for the Knicks, and I agree with your comment, the Knicks are they're big on work ethic. They're big on team. It's a team thing. And I don't know if Kevin Durant, I don't want to see all the old players in the playoffs. I don't want to see all old players in the playoffs. Good for the NBA. Yeah, sure. 100%. I just love to see that the young guys are making a name for themselves, because we've seen LeBron dominate. We've seen Curry dominate. We've seen KD 4-time dominate. Now we got new guys. And then look, Paul George too is in that same bracket. He's in that James Harden, same bracket. Russ in that same bracket. So we're seeing those guys gone. You got guys like Luka making a name for himself. The solid veteran guy right now is Kyrie. I mean, like the solid veteran guy that we've seen for a decade, a little less than a decade. Kyrie's still balling. Kyrie is still making things happen, but Kyrie is that gifted guy, that gifted player you don't see all the time. You know what I'm saying? KD getting up there in age, but he's definitely about the basketball life. Prefer Bridges. KD would work on a short-term deal. Okay, he's from the DMV, so he'd appreciate being back in the Northeast. Yeah. If the Knicks were to make this move, it has to be short-term. It has to be short-term. But that short term, you have to win. In that short time frame, you have to win. Does he stay in Phoenix with Book? I don't know. There is so much money wrapped up in that team. They spent. I saw a thing last year. The Suns in the past 2 or 3 years spent nearly $1 billion for KD, Book, Beal, DeAndre Ayton, even though he's not with them anymore. But there was so much money involved in that team, and it just, all those players stacked decks, not good for the NBA. Yeah, it's just, man, I don't know. I just think that for Kevin Durant, does he have a last hurrah in him? That's the biggest question. He can still get you 30 points. He's still that dangerous assassin that can go score, with, less shots, but he's so efficient. But does he have that last hurrah to say, I can will this team to a championship? Now, if he's able to go to the Knicks, let's just hypothetically speaking, and he's able to deliver them a championship, changes the whole landscape of his career. The whole landscape. You go to the Knicks. The Knicks have been waiting for that moment for years. They've been waiting for this moment. And you're able to get them there and win it. That's going to be a big deal if he's able to do that. But the Knicks are coming. I just give Brunson help. Somebody give Brunson help. It can't just Brunson honestly is getting beat up out there, and I hate that for him because he is so talented and he's so good. And I like Vincenzo a lot because I saw him with Golden State. I think he's a very good player. He can go get you buckets, but they need to go get somebody, in the offseason that can go get buckets as well, that can, take the top off for him. So definitely that. But this NBA playoffs has been very interesting. Even the OKC series with the Mavericks, Kyrie is dancing all over people. I think they're up in the series 2-1, I think. So they played tonight. But man, that series is interesting. I'm looking at the Cavs and Boston, the Cavs and Boston series. I even said that I think the Cavs have one game in them, but I don't think they're beating Boston. There's not enough for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell too is kind of the same thing. I love the run that they had. Of course they did this, for the first time since LeBron. So that's very good for the city, very good for the organization. And we get somebody like Donovan Mitchell. That's somebody I'm going to be watching out for too. If the Cavs, miraculously don't, if they don't win this series, is Donovan Mitchell going to stay there? What are they going to do? So that's a very interesting thing. So I'll keep my eyes on that. But there's going to be a lot of moves. I think there's a lot of things going on. I just saw a report that Bronny James, he's cleared for the draft. I'll talk about that later because I have my opinions of him going to the draft so early. Yeah, that wraps up the show. Again, thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for your support. I'm very grateful, and I'm going to continue to just give you guys great content. Also, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is First Impression Sports Talk. I talk all things sports. I know hockey season, hockey playoffs is in full effect. I'm super excited. Obviously, I'm not excited because my Lightning are out, but we're going to be talking about all things sports. There's a lot of things coming up. We have certain fights coming up, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I'm going to be covering that as well. So that's going to be very exciting. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. More information will be coming out as far as the whole First Impression Sports Talk brand in the coming weeks. So I'm really excited about that. I can't share everything, but make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a good day and enjoy NBA basketball playoffs right now.